It was 2 a.m., and Melissa sat on the edge of her bed, staring at a stack of unpaid bills. Her hands trembled as she thought about how she'd explain to her kids why the lights might not work tomorrow. The fridge was nearly empty, and payday was still 2 weeks away. She'd been working 2 jobs for years, but somehow, it was never enough. The weight of exhaustion pressed on her chest, making it hard to breathe. Her oldest child had asked that night, "Mom, why don't you sleep anymore?" She couldn't answer. She wanted to be strong, but her strength was fading, and that's when a thought hit her. Something has to change, or we won't survive. What she didn't know was that the change was already on its way, in the most unexpected form. But the solution wasn't in another job. It was something she'd never even heard of before. Melissa's morning started before sunrise, packing lunches for her 2 kids before rushing to her first job. After 8 hours of cashier work, she'd grab a quick bite, usually just a granola bar, and head to her night cleaning shift. The bus rides in between felt endless, giving her too much time to think about everything she couldn't give her children. She'd pass by shops with shiny new shoes, thinking how her son's sneakers had holes in the soles. Sometimes she'd cry silently on the bus, turning her head to hide her tears. She believed this was just life, hard and unforgiving. But a conversation on one of those late-night bus rides was about to plant a seed she couldn't ignore. It started with a stranger's whisper about something called AI. One evening, her coworker Janet, a single mom too, sat beside her on the bus with a grin Melissa hadn't seen in years. Janet had recently quit one of her jobs, but seemed better off than before. Melissa couldn't understand it, until Janet leaned in and said, "I'm making more money now, using AI." Melissa laughed at first, thinking it was some scam, but Janet showed her a few screenshots on her phone. Online sales, digital designs, all created with AI tools she could access for free. Melissa's heart pounded. Could this really be real? Janet promised to teach her the basics if she was willing to learn. Melissa went home that night and couldn't sleep a wink. Melissa sat at her kitchen table the next morning, coffee in hand, staring at her old slow laptop. Janet had given her a list of websites and tools, including something called ChatGPT, another named Leonardo AI, and a design site she'd never used before. She typed each name slowly, unsure if she was about to waste her time. But as she explored, she saw colorful designs being generated in seconds, text being written instantly, and business ideas she'd never imagined. Her skepticism began to fade, replaced with a flicker of excitement. Still, she had no idea where to start, and no time to waste. Her first attempt would be a complete disaster, but it would teach her everything she needed to know. Melissa decided to create digital artwork to sell online. She followed a tutorial, typed a prompt into Leonardo AI, and was amazed when a stunning image appeared in seconds. She uploaded it to a marketplace, confident it would sell. Days passed. Nothing. Not a single view. Her heart sank. Maybe she wasn't cut out for this, but deep down she remembered Janet's words. The first try is never the one that works. Keep going. She pushed herself to make another attempt, this time with a better description and multiple designs. And then, something unexpected happened in the middle of the night. It was 2:17 a.m. when her phone buzzed with a notification. Half asleep, she grabbed it and blinked at the screen. Sale completed. $12.99 earned. Her heart raced as she stared at the tiny number. It wasn't much, but it was proof. Proof that this could work. She sat in bed smiling for the first time in weeks. Her mind started racing with new ideas. What if she could make $50, $100, maybe enough to quit one of her jobs? From that night on, she worked like a woman possessed. Every spare moment became an opportunity to learn. Melissa watched YouTube tutorials, read articles, and tested different AI prompts. She learned how to market her work on social media, how to write compelling descriptions, and even started creating simple ebooks using AI-written content. Sales trickled in, $5 here, $20 there, but they were growing. Her kids noticed she seemed happier, humming while she cooked dinner. She still kept it a secret from them, wanting to surprise them when it really mattered. And then came the day she hit her first $500 month. Melissa stared at her screen in disbelief. Her sales dashboard now read $514.67 for the month. She scrolled up and down, half expecting the numbers to vanish. This was more than she'd ever earned from a side hustle, and it wasn't even the end of the month. She leaned back in her chair, tears pooling in her eyes. For years, every dollar had been tied to exhausting physical labor. Now she'd made this from her tiny kitchen, while her kids slept in the next room. She thought about all the nights she'd collapsed into bed, too tired to even eat. And now, maybe, just maybe, those nights were over. But she also knew this was just the start. $500 could cover groceries, but she wanted freedom. And to get there, she would have to push into territory that terrified her. The next step was riskier. Melissa decided to invest $50 into promoting her AI designs online. That $50 was money she could have used for bills, but she believed in the momentum she was building. She crafted eye-catching ads, scheduled them for peak hours, and crossed her fingers. The first day, nothing happened. The second day, one sale. But by day 3, her phone buzzed so much she had to turn off notifications. Orders were pouring in faster than she could process. She realized people loved custom designs, so she started offering personalized AI portraits for customers' pets, kids, and special occasions. The reviews glowed with praise. And then, one order changed everything. Melissa had just finished dinner when an email popped up from a small business owner. He'd seen her AI designs online and wanted a complete branding package: logo, social media templates, and cover designs. The price he suggested made her gasp: $1,000. She'd never been paid that much for anything outside of months of grueling work. That night, she stayed up until dawn, perfecting every design with AI assistance, making sure it looked like it came from a professional studio. When she sent the final package, his reply was instant: "This is perfect. Payment sent." That payment would set off a chain reaction she never could have imagined. With each month, her income doubled. She cleared her credit card debt, replaced her kids' worn-out shoes, and even stocked the fridge without worrying about every price tag. She began taking weekends off to spend time with her children. Picnics in the park, movie nights, and home-cooked meals where everyone laughed together. Her energy returned, her smile became genuine again, and for the first time in years, she felt in control of her life. But something inside her still whispered, what if it all disappeared tomorrow? That fear pushed her to think bigger, to create something that could never be taken away. She was about to turn her small hustle into a real business. Melissa decided to launch her own online store, a central hub for all her AI creations. She stayed up for weeks, learning about branding, SEO, and customer funnels. The store launched quietly at first, but traffic began to climb as people shared her work on social media. She uploaded designs daily, many custom-made for holidays and events. One night, she refreshed her sales page and saw hundreds of orders waiting. Her hands shook as she realized she was now running a fully functioning online business from her living room. And then came the moment that made her cry in front of her kids. It happened on a Saturday morning. Melissa's youngest ran into her arms holding a small envelope from school. Inside was a class trip permission slip. The cost was $45. In the past, she would have panicked, wondering what bill she'd have to delay. This time she smiled, pulled out her phone, and paid instantly. Her kids cheered and hugged her. The relief and pride hit so hard that she started crying right there in the kitchen. For years, she'd hidden her struggles, but now she could give her children experiences they deserved. And she wasn't going to stop here, because she knew other mothers needed this too. Melissa began creating short videos explaining how she used AI to build her business. She posted them on social media, expecting only a few views. Instead, they went viral. Messages flooded in from single parents, students, and retirees asking for guidance. She realized she had stumbled onto something bigger than herself, a movement. She started hosting free online workshops, showing people step-by-step how to use AI tools. The gratitude poured in, and for the first time, she felt she was making a difference beyond her own family. But the biggest surprise was yet to come, one that would change her life forever. Months later, Melissa stood on a small stage at a local community event. The banner behind her read, "Empowering through AI." She told her story, from 2 jobs and empty fridges to running a thriving business and teaching others. Her kids sat in the front row, beaming with pride. As she finished, the audience erupted in applause. She knew then that her life had changed forever, not just because of money, but because she'd proven to herself and her children that no matter how impossible life feels, there's always another way forward. And as she walked off the stage, she whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning." If Melissa's story inspired you, share this video with someone who needs hope. And remember, your next chapter can start today.